Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Shri Vasadi, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare
Jai.
Krishna Mataji.
Thank you,
Jai.
Sumit Prabhuji. Okay, now that I have all of you on video, stay on video. Let's take a group picture before we get out of the video. All of you, if you could show your face properly, not just your forehead. Nice picture. Okay. I request everyone who can come on video, please come on video. We'll take a group picture and then I let you go off video. All ready? Okay. Going 1, 2, and 3. Sorry, Ranibita Mataji, you are not on video yet. Let me try again. Going 1, 2, 3. Thank you. I'll send this out to all of you at the end of the call. Jay. Okay, so can everyone confirm that you have started chanting with your mala beads now, or is anyone still doing finger count, some other kind of counting, whatever innovation is it there right now? Right? Everyone is doing their chanting with mala. Okay.
Yes, Mataji.
Okay. If you don't have a mala bead and a chanting bag yet, you can order it online. I had put the order link in the one group chat. So if you miss that group link, I can send it all at the end of the call. If you want your Bhagavad Gita copy, you can place order for it online as well. So make sure you chant on the bead, at least your speculator rounds of beads that you have made a sankalpa for. It could be 1 round a day, it could be 4 rounds a day, whatever that number is, whatever you're starting with. Right? Keep that number as your target for every day. Don't miss that number. If you can, always try to finish that in the morning. Okay, but if you cannot finish in the morning and you have to do sometime in the afternoon, evening, that's also fine. Okay, but try to focus and finish it as so early in the morning. If you have to get up 15 minutes early, finish your rounds, then focus on the rest of your day, that's the best time to focus on your chanting. Okay, Jay, thank you. Let's start with our classes for today. Okay. Day 18, Gita Gyan, Level 1. Our obeisances to Jagannath Baldev Subhadramai, Sudarshanji, Lakshmi Narsimha, Gaur Nitai, Panchatattva, and the Guru Parampara. Okay, can someone please recite the prayers? I've also put the translation of the first 2 prayers, so you know what that means. Someone please recite the prayers.
Mataji?
Yes, please go ahead.
ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन् इति नामिने। नामस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवाणी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधरा श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Translation.
Yes.
I offer my respectful obeisances unto my spiritual master who has opened my eyes, which were blinded by the darkness of ignorance with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, who is very dear to Lord Krishna, having taken shelter at his lotus feet. Our respectful obeisances are unto you, O spiritual master, servant of Saraswati Goswami.
Saraswati. Yes,
Saraswati
Mm.
Goswami, you are kindly preaching the message of Lord Chaitanya Deva and delivering the Western countries which are filled with impersonalism, with voidism.
Impersonalism and voidism.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Isha Mataji. Okay. So that is the meaning of the prayers that you were chanting all this while for the last 18 days. Our class today is dedicated to His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, founder Acharya of International Society of Krishna Consciousness, and our obeisances to His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj. Today in Gita Mahatmya, Jayata Satatam Sakyam Sarva Jiva Ganai Saha Prarabdham Bunjato Vapi Gita Bhyasa Ratasya Cha. A person who is devoted to studying the Gita acquires a friendly disposition to all living beings, despite his accruing the reactions of his previous actions in this world. Sri Vaishnaviya Tantra Sara, verse 32. So when we become knowledgeable in this Gita, this verse is saying when you become knowledgeable by studying, devoting time to study this Gita, then we know that we are not just this body. That's the first thing that we learned in Bhagavad Gita. We are not just this, we are not the body, we are actually the soul within, right? We are part and parcel of Krishna. Then all the soul, then when we start to think of everyone as a soul, then nobody is different. Nobody is upper or lesser, irrespective of the kind of body they have. Nobody becomes less or bigger, right? And that is Pandita Samadarshinaha. A Pandita, a person who is placed in knowledge of Gita, he does not differentiate whether the jiva has a body of a animal or a bird or a tree, because they look for the jiva within. And at a jiva level, all of us are equal. All of us are spiritual, right? And that is what Jnana Yoga has told us all this while, that everyone at jiva level is equal. At bodily level, we make some kind of differences. But at jiva, a person who is learned in Gita will not make a difference. And this way, we treat everyone with compassion. So this compassion is to ensure that every jiva, it's not a misdirected compassion. It's not a falsely assumed compassion. It's a compassion to ensure that every jiva is on the path to liberation, right? We are not, forbidding or blocking another jiva's path back to liberation. That is a kind of compassion we are talking about. So they don't suffer endlessly. That is our only motive, that these jivas don't suffer endlessly in this material world, right? So hence, a Pandita will has a Samadarshina. Samadarshina is equal vision of all jivas. Okay, and this is what we have already learned. And this verse from Vaishnaviya Tantra Sara is talking about the same thing. Now, here there's a word called prarabdham. Second line, first word is prarabdham. Now, what is this word prarabdham? We have kind of discussed this concept of prarabdham many a times, but maybe I've not used this specific word so far. Now, all of us come with a baggage of sins from our past life. Prarabdham means the sinful reaction that has fructified, and we're seeing the result of that in this life. You understand the meaning? So all the sins that we have collected over many, many lives, the only when we have the karma to face the reaction of the sin, then we see the reaction of that sin in this life. For some time, for example, a child is born with some, as soon as it's born with some kind of disabilities. So that should definitely be because whatever sins or miseries or karma it's done in the past, it's fructified in this life, and hence it's come with some kind of bodily or physical challenges. Or sometimes the child is very beautiful, right? Very well spoken, very intelligent. That could also happen because of a previous karma, which has fructified in this life. So there's prarabdha and there is aprarabdha. Aprarabdha means the reactions which has not fructified yet, but will fructify in one of our future lifetimes. So for that, we'll have to take few more births till that a desire of us, or that karma reaction that we have to face. At that point, it will get fructified, and till then it becomes a prarabdha. So this word prarabdha in this verse is saying, though we are constantly facing the reactions of our prarabdha, reactions that we have to go through in this life, still a person who is learned in Gita will have friendly disposition to all living beings. Okay, that's the Gita Mahatmya. I'm sorry, my voice is breaking out into a cough every now and then. I'll try to keep myself on mute through the process. I was listening to yesterday's recording. I realized there was a lot of interruptions. Sorry about that. I'll try to be more conscious today. Okay, now chapter 18. This is a concluding chapter, and it's called the perfection of renunciation. Okay, so remember, we have already gone through 17 chapters so far. So this chapter 18, what it's doing is all the conclusions that we have derived from chapter 1 to chapter 17. This is summarizing all the conclusions of each chapter. So in chapter 18, Lord Krishna is giving an overview of the whole Bhagavad Gita. He's again stressing that there on the importance of bhakti. Again, he goes through different types of paths to bhakti, like karma yoga, jnana yoga, and then again he concludes that bhakti is the ultimate thing that we need to ultimate goal of life. So that's what the conclusion of this chapter is. So let's go verse by verse and understand what this chapter is telling us new this time. Now, before we go ahead, remember that this conversation is in between a battlefield in Kurukshetra between Krishna and Arjuna. And this whole conversation between Krishna and Arjuna is about 45 minutes. Okay, though we have taken about 18 days to finish this whole chapter, understand the concept, this was actually done all in 45 minutes. Krishna was reciting the verses, Arjuna was responding, all that was going on, all in 45 minutes. And does anyone know what was the age of Krishna and Arjuna during the Kurukshetra war?
Around 84 years,
80
Mataji.
was Krishna.
125 years.
Mm-hmm. He was
80
84
plus.
years. 125 years, Krishna left this material world and disappeared. But the war itself happened when they were 84 years. But Krishna was eternally youthful even when he was 84 years. He looked like the 16-year-old even back then. So I can imagine the kind of lifestyle they had. We are looking old even as we touch 30, 35, 40, we look pretty old. But Krishna was looking 16, youthful forever. And so was Arjuna. They were very strong. You can kind of imagine the valor of these people, because they could take up so many people in one go while fighting all these warriors. So that is their strength back then. So till verse 19 of this chapter, what is happening is Krishna is summarizing karma yoga again. Okay, so in karma yoga, Arjuna has this question on what's the difference between sannyasa and tyaga. So Krishna is explaining sannyasa means you're giving up all kind of material activities, whether it's good, bad, auspicious, inauspicious. You're giving up all that material conceptions of activities and you're focusing only on Krishna. You don't have any other activities other than focusing on Krishna, right? While tyaga, as we have described in Nishkama Karma Yoga, means you're giving up the results of the activities. Okay, you're still doing karma, but you're giving up the results of the activities. You're not considering yourself the cause of the activity. So renunciation tyaga can also be done in 3 modes. Krishna explains in the mode of goodness, passion, and ignorance. In mode of goodness, it's done as a matter of duty. Okay, so even tyaga is done as a matter of duty. And in passion, they're aware of the prescribed duties, but they give it up easily if it's inconvenient for their body. While in the mode of ignorance, they have no consideration for what is prescribed duties, what is mentioned in the scriptures. So they do whatever they want, whatever pleases them. So now what is this prescribed duty? Now these are duties that is prescribed for human beings in scriptures. Like the marriage ceremony is a duty. It's done when man and woman have to live together, they go through a marriage ceremony, right? Not just that have sex before marriage and then get married. That's not scriptural. That is in the mode of ignorance. But mode of goodness is go through the proper procedures of marriage and solemnize your marriage by the blessings of the gods, and then get um, uh, um, involved with anything else after marriage, right? Or as your think of your duties as your parents or as grahastas, right? These are all prescribed duties. So prescribed duties will tell that one must study the shastras, one should serve their guru, one should donate to spiritual causes, one should follow truthfulness, and when you're earning money, you should be truthful and honest in your business. Okay, avoid all kind of violence if it can be avoided. So these are all prescribed duties. So these people in goodness will follow these prescribed duties because these things must be done as a matter of duty, while people in passion will follow what is good for them and reject what they feel is inconvenient for their body, right? While people in the mode of ignorance will just about do anything, whether, and it doesn't matter that it's against the prescribed duties. So these material work that one does, so these material work but follows these one, if one follows these material duties, they become um, easy to control their mind and senses. So that's why we have prescribed duty. So we are more regulated in the way we are living. As humans, we need regulations. If a human is without regulation, they are as good as animals, right? So these prescribed duties are there so we can live a more regulated life. Okay. Now, Krishna is further saying that who is a wise renunciant. A wise renunciant is one who is always fixed in the mode of goodness and is neither hateful of inauspicious work, which they think is inauspicious because it's uncomfortable for their body, or they are not too attached to any kind of auspicious work, work that they consider as pleasurable for the body. Right? So the material conception of what is auspicious, inauspicious do not matter to them. They just do their duty in the mode of goodness, fixed in the mode of goodness. And he does his duty without any doubt that it is all for the Supreme Lord. So such kind of renunciant is the best. Okay. So even as a grahastha, a person can be a renunciant. Right? Does that make sense? Or is it like, how is that too shocking a statement? Even a grahastha can be a renunciant. What is your thought on that?
How, Mataji? By doing his duties towards his family and
Yes.
renouncing all the material benefits that he wants, material things that he wants?
No, renunciation means, yeah,
Hare
someone
Krishna
else.
Mataji.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, in Grahastha ashram, the Grahasthas do whatever they do, they have to do their prescribed duties.
Yes.
But all the duties they should dovetail to the Krishna. For
Yes.
Krishna's sake, they can do everything.
Yes. Yes.
For cooking extra, earning money.
Yes, that's true, Mataji, because a grahastha, the ideal grahastha, should never really do anything for his own gratification. He's doing anything for the pleasure of Krishna. Right? So even that kind of work where you have given up your own sense gratification, but you're focused completely on Krishna, you're focused on what is nice for Krishna, what is Krishna like, what does Krishna like to wear. You're constantly thinking, you're involved, engrossed in Krishna consciousness completely. Even living a life like that while you're doing your material duties, that is still working in Krishna consciousness, and that also is a good representation of being renunciant. Renunciation of material work or material aspirations for your own self. Okay, so you continue working, you do your duties, but at the same time, if today you're spending say 2 hours a day thinking of Krishna, chanting, eventually progressively as you grow, and it's always better to start early and do as much as you can for Krishna. But make a target that if you're spending 2 hours today, then maybe you can increase that. You can start reading more, you can start listening to lectures, or you can get into deeper understanding of the Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, be in association of devotees, visit temples, have darshan of the Lord. So gradually, if you can put a number, say today I'm spending, in a week I'm spending 3 hours a day, then maybe if eventually you are so engrossed in Krishna that your whole life is focused on Krishna. When you're cooking for Krishna. When you're you're reading about Krishna. When you're talking to your children, when you're grooming them, you're nicely telling them stories of Krishna. That way you're taking them towards Krishna consciousness very, very naturally, organically. So that's a way a grahastha can live their life in Krishna consciousness while being in perfect stage of renunciation as well. Okay. Now further, in verse 20 to 22, what's going on is, like we discussed yesterday. Yesterday we discussed charity, um, austerity, and what was the third one?
Sacrifice.
Sacrifice. Here, few more things we are going to discuss, like knowledge, happiness. So Krishna is telling here a person in the mode, how does knowledge look like in the mode of goodness? Goodness is, in the mode of goodness, one has undivided spiritual nature and is seen in all living entities. So they are looking at the jiva within. Okay, so in the mode of goodness, everyone is spirit soul. Once in undivided spiritual nature is seen in all living beings. They might have different types of body, like demigods, humans, animals, dogs, doesn't matter, but they see them all as spirit soul. That is in the mode of goodness. Now in the mode of passion, what happens is, in every different body there's a different type of living being, right? So here in the mode of passion, they are thinking that the body is different. So then each person deserves a different level of identity, or different identity altogether. So they are thinking that there is a different type of living entity altogether. Means one human being, only human beings have like a superior soul, right? They might think like that. And anybody else in a lower form of body, like an animal, they might think them as a little inferior from a human being itself. So they have various opinions on what is a soul. They might sometimes say that the soul, that the body and the soul are non-different, or they have different opinions on the size of the soul. Some say that the size of the soul is as big as the body, or the soul is the God, is God. Our soul is God itself. So it's consciousness. So they have many such opinions about soul, but overall it's opinions. They don't have concrete idea, because they don't make the attempt to completely study the shastras, right? So they make a lot of opinion depending on what works in their favor. Now, in the mode of ignorance, one is attached to one kind of work as the all in all. Okay, and second point says, without knowledge of the truth, and which is very meager. So in the mode of passion means thinking that everybody, they have every living being attached to one kind of work as the all in all. That means to say they'll just do their work from the beginning to end. They're not looking for any kind of superior knowledge. They're not looking to, they're not even interested in knowing anything beyond their body. Maybe they don't even recognize that there is a soul within the body. They just think they are this body. So all they have to do is take care of the body, right? So they have no consciousness or awareness of the soul. Like this, they are not interested in higher awareness or higher knowledge of any kind. So in Sattva Guna, knowledge of spirit soul is, we understand that the spirit soul is beyond the body. We're not just the body, we are the spirit soul. In Rajoguna, this knowledge is producing many kind of theories, or based on our mundane understanding of what is our body and what is soul. We come up with many logic theories, many logic, and this is where many of the theories like Dvaitavadi or Advaitavadi. Advaitavadi means um, um, the body, the soul, and the of the jiva and the soul of the supreme, they all merge into one and become God ultimately. That is Advaitavadi. Now, Dvaitavadi says we merge into the supreme Lord, but we are still different. Okay, that's what it says. So even after we go back to Goloka, we'll have our own jiva soul, which is spiritual in nature at that point, but we are still separate from the supreme soul. But Rajaguna, people with Rajaguna will come with all kind of different theories, like the Kaka Tala story. Though everything is mentioned in scriptures, they just have to open the scriptures and read the truth, but they'll keep coming up with theories to satisfy their own pride and ego. So in Tamoguna, knowledge is limited to maintaining their body. They're not interested in anything beyond the body. So this is how knowledge, the kind of knowledge people acquire. And even when they're reading the absolute perfect knowledge like Bhagavad Gita, this is how they perceive the knowledge, right? Somebody asked me the question other day, I think Pavan Prabhu, why don't we have onion and garlic? Right? Because garlic has tamasic impact, while onion has a rajasic impact in our way we read, the way we chant, right? And even when we're reading Bhagavad Gita while we're eating tamasic or rajasic food, this is how we perceive the knowledge, though it's perfect and absolute, without any kind of errors or scope for interpretation or speculation. While reading Bhagavad Gita, many people can make many interpretations, and that is because the kind of mood they are in while reading the Gita, right? Is that clear? Any questions? Okay, now let's go on to the next topic. Now, how does happiness look? Happiness is a very interesting topic. So here it says a person who's in Sattva Guna, for them, happiness is what brings joy, destroys sorrow by practice. And it may seem unbearable, like poison in the beginning, but it becomes like nectar at the end. Think of everything you do for your, which you thought was not very nice, like getting up early in the morning, going for a walk in the morning, or finishing your chants in the morning, or waking up early. Like some people might have the habit of getting up by 7 o'clock, but once then you decide, let's start my day by 5 o'clock, and it feels very bitter, it feels unbearable. But once you get used to the new timing, then what happens is it becomes nectar, it becomes more bearable, right? So this is what happens. Any activity, happiness in Sattva Guna is like that. It may seem unbearable at the beginning, but eventually it becomes like nectar. So, and the second point is which awakens one to self-realization. So this kind of happiness is more internalized. They are looking at the happiness of the soul rather than this happiness of the body, the sense gratification. So eventually this kind of people will, they are already on the path towards liberation, but eventually such people are awakened to Krishna conscious as well. Right. So this is the right path to be when you want to be in the Krishna conscious mood. Now, what does happiness in the mode of passion look like? Here, happiness rises from contact with the sense objects. What are sense objects? What are senses and what are sense objects? Senses are your eyes, ears, nose, mouth, and skin. Did I miss anything? Nose, right? So your sense objects will be whatever you're seeing, whatever you're touching, whatever you're listening to, right? Whatever you're eating, tasting, that becomes sense objects. So in the mode of passion, Happiness comes from touch, in contact with, when the sense comes in contact with the sense objects, that is happiness. When you eat some nice food, you feel happy. That is sense objects. Or when you're spending some 2-3 hours with your family watching a movie, that is happiness. So when your eyes listens to some music, when you look at something that gives you happiness. Now, this kind of happiness, it appears like nectar in the beginning, but becomes poison at the end. Right? Like overeating, for example, when you see some good food and you overeat, then there's indigestion, right? So same way, too much enjoying the sense objects could be like, you spend a lot of time earning and building nice houses, buying good cars, uh, things like that, luxurious things. Then what happens? We are spending so much time just earning living, earning a living, right? So at the end of it, we don't have time for anything higher than just earning. We just are running behind our desires, what all the small things that we need to meet for our family. So the higher objective of life is lost to meet the lower objectives. So we forever get trapped in material existence then, right? This way, too much enjoyment in the mode of passion, initially it might feel like nectar, but at the end it becomes poison. Now, what happens in the mode of ignorance? These people are blind to self-realization. Okay, uh, and so they are delusion from the beginning to end. Their happiness come from like things like sleeping, laziness, illusion, intoxication. So this kind of things, these are poisonous at the beginning and they're poison at the end as well. So they look for this momentary happiness, just some kind of little relief from all the anxiety. So they might take happiness in, some kind of drugs, intoxication. So such kind of people, they end up being sleepy, lazy, in illusion. So they take happiness from this, and this kind of thing from beginning to end is nothing but poison. Okay, so this, like this in this chapter, Krishna explains three mode of many things. Like he also gives how does the three modes look for karma. How does karma look like in the mode of goodness, passion, um, and ignorance? Then he talks about the karta, the one who's doing this action or karma. How do they behave in the mode of goodness, passion, and ignorance? So like this chapter goes into many such aspects which we'll not be able to cover in this session. So maybe this will be something that will go in detail in Gita Gyan level 2. Okay, but in other words, he elaborates a little more in this chapter also on the four varnas: Brahmana, Kshatriya, Shudra, and Vaishya, and which mode does each of the varna work with, and what is the prominent mode in each of them, right? So Brahmana is in the mode of Sattva Guna, Kshatriya in the mode of passion, while the Vaishya will be in the mode of passion and ignorance, and the Shudra is more prominently in the mode of ignorance. So it's a very elaborate chapter which goes into many things that we may have discussed in some of the previous chapters, with a little more details added to it. So this is so this pretty much summarizes what we have learned so far till chapter 17. Okay, now let's get to the next part of this, the important part of this chapter. Everything is important, but so far Krishna has summarized everything. Now he's getting to the crux of chapter 18. So Krishna is revealing a more confidential knowledge. So in verse 61, can someone please read the screen?
Bye, Mataji.
Um, who was it? Sorry, Sumit Prabhu, and who was else?
Can I, Mataji?
Yes, go ahead. Suhasini Mataji, go ahead.
Shloka Mataji?
Yes, read the shloka.
Okay, Mataji. Bhagavad Gita 18th chapter 61 to 63. Ishvara sarva bhutanam hrideshad arjuna tishtati ब्रह्मयान् सर्वभूतानि यान्त्रारूढानि मायया तामेव शरणं गच्छ सर्वभावेन भारत तत्प्रसादात् परं सन्तिं स्थानं स्थानं प्रप्स्यासि शाश्वतम् इति ते ज्ञानम् अक्षतं गुह्यद्गुह्यतरं मया विम्श्रयेतद् अशेषेण यथेच्छसि तथा कुरु. Purport. The Supreme Lord is situated in everyone's heart, O Arjuna, and is directing the wanderings of all living entities who are seated as on a machine made of the material energy. O son of Bharata, surrender unto him utterly. By his grace you will attain transcendental peace and the supreme and eternal abode. Thus I have explained to you knowledge still more confidential. Deliberate on this fully and then do what you wish to do. Hare Krishna. Mataji.
Hare Krishna. So Krishna is now ultimately summarizing everything, the more confidential knowledge. So in verse 61, he's saying the Supreme Lord is seated within everyone's heart and is the master director of every living being. So every individual jivatma, uh, will change many bodies. As the soul changes his body, it forgets what has happened in the past, in their past human life. But the spiritual soul, the Paramatma which is within, remembers what happens in the past, present, and future as well. And because he also becomes the witness sitting within every jiva and making note of, this is what the jiva has gone through. This is the karma. This is their desires. So all this is noted by Paramatma. So by his order, the material nature gives us a particular type of body to, and a particular type, of desires, whatever comes with the body, that is because of all our desires and karma from our last life. So by this, material nature gives us a particular type of body for a particular type of jiva, so that they can work according to their past desires. We have human form, and it's very important to know this, that when we have a human form, because we have bigger goals to achieve in this life, right? It's not very some random events that you are born right here now with this human form. Why not an animal form? You should understand that you have gone through many forms, many animal forms, but finally you have this human form. And you have this human form because this is an opportunity given to you to achieve something higher in this life. Even with human, then some are born in rich families, some are born in some learned families, some are born among devotees, or some might be born with regular families uh, who have a lot of material aspirations, goals. So we can understand that each type of human then though they can surrender to Lord immediately and get liberated, but because of their past desires, uh, we may not have the same exposure to Krishna. Even though we are born as human, we may not have same exposure to Krishna than compared to, say, a person born in a Brahmana family, right? Or in a transcendental family or a devotee family. So that is also because of our karma. So this is also because of our past desires. So while Jnana Yoga says that spirit souls are all same, we are saying that Sama Pandita, Pandita Sama Darshina, which means in Jnana Yoga, we say every jiva at a spirit soul level, we are the same. That is also true. But at Bhakti Yoga level, we recognize that even souls have different levels of surrender, right? You see the difference? Jnana Yoga says every soul is a spirit soul and is the same. But in Bhakti Yoga, we recognize that even every soul have different levels of surrender to Krishna. Okay, they are equal spiritually, but they have different levels of surrender to Krishna. So in verse 62, Krishna is telling Arjuna to surrender to that supreme soul, super soul, with full devotion. right? He says his grace, by his grace, you will attain transcendental peace and supreme and eternal abode. Only then, when you surrender to that supreme soul, only then all our internal conflicts will be resolved and we will attain that peace and go back to supreme abode. The purpose of this knowledge is revealed here. The purpose is to take shelter of the Lord, so that we surrender to the Lord. So this surrender to the super soul is for worshippers of Krishna's expansions as a super soul or Paramatma, whereas the worshippers of Bhagwan surrender directly to the personality of Krishna, right? So there's a difference here because we have spoken about Brahman and Bhagwan so far. So this surrender to him, so he's saying everyone surrenders to him ultimately, but for people who surrender to him directly, then for them, they have eternal peace, right? Now, Krishna says in the third verse, 63, Krishna is saying, I've shared with you great confidential, shared with you this knowledge, which is very confidential. So he's saying, deliberate on this and do as you wish, right? Do as you wish, he says. So why is Krishna saying, do as you wish? This indicates that God does not interfere with our little independence of free will, right? He has given us all the options so far, and then he's telling, now you have all the knowledge, do as you will. So we should remember why he's telling this. So the reason why we are on this material world is because we have a lot of desires. We are intrinsically have a lot of desires, and many of these desires is to enjoy independent of Krishna. So he's giving you independence now that you have this desire and you're fallen down to the material. Now he's saying, okay, you have so many desires to be independent. Now you can deliberate on that independence, right? He's giving you independence to make a choice of with Krishna or without Krishna. So if he, for example, let's say somebody asked me the question, why doesn't Krishna just curb such activities? He can just say, don't follow material things, just do spiritual stuff, just follow me. He can curb us like that. He can restrict us like that, which Krishna very well can do. But he isn't doing because he understands that each of us have rebelled from him and we have fallen down. Now, if he further curbs us down over here, then we'll rebel even further, we'll fall even further down. So he's asking us to execute our free will and surrender with our free will, surrender without any kind of force, any kind of pressure. He's saying, surrender knowing that I am, with all the knowledge you have, surrender willfully. So Krishna is not a dictator. He's given us the knowledge and he's saying, now make your choice. He's happy when a devotee is independently knowing all the material pleasures he can have, despite knowing that when a devotee willfully makes the choice of being with Krishna, that makes him very happy. But he's telling in this verse, you have all the knowledge you need, so do what you please at this point, right? So that is what these three verses mean. So let's read this verse 64.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, can I interrupt? Sorry.
Yes, Mataji, go ahead.
In that last three verses,
Yes.
Krishna is advising Arjuna. Okay.
Yes.
So similarly, the super soul which is there within us, is it the conscience which guides us at times that this is the right thing to do, this is the wrong
Yes.
thing to do,
If
and
you're
then
listening.
yeah.
Yes.
So then we take our call on what to do, maybe
Yes.
based upon our prarabdha, or is it?
So remember, prarabdha, okay, let's talk on the first point you made. The awareness, the knowledge. Remember when Krishna told you your remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness comes from Krishna, right? The knowledge that this is right, this is wrong, this is against my consciousness. So it also comes from Krishna. That awareness comes intrinsically. When you say my consciousness does not allow me to do this, that's also Krishna.
Super
right?
soul guiding us from
Yes,
inside.
yes, but you should be aware. I mean, everything cannot be Krishna, right? Some things you do because you've heard from your friends. This is the best business deal. I need to invest here. I'll get my money here. This is not Krishna's doing. That is your
Hmm.
karma.
Hmm.
Right?
Okay.
Krishna is guiding you towards Krishna consciousness. When you're surrendered to Krishna and you're working in his consciousness, remember that blog I shared with you of a devotee who works with the share markets, but is a devotee of Krishna. He, through his life, he consulted a spiritual teacher, Devadatta Maharaj, and who is currently Bhakti Rasamrit Swami Maharaj. And based on his directions, he made sure that whatever he's doing or not doing, it's done with pure honesty and in awareness that he should not, as a devotee of the Lord, invest in certain things or not. Though the friends who initially asked him to invest in some kind of business, they became very rich. They became very famous, but still he was not bothered by that, because he knew that whatever he's doing is enough for his family. He doesn't have to drive himself to the extreme to do all these things, right? So when you're devotee of Krishna and you're surrendered to him, then that knowledge of what is right and wrong will come in different ways. Sometimes it could be a consciousness telling you this is not right, or it could come from senior devotees or spiritual teachers on what is right versus wrong. So both of them are good, okay? But other way around, people doing things based on your gut feeling and perception, we'll have to draw a line on what is our internal thoughts driven versus what's coming from actions devoted in Krishna consciousness.
Okay. Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Okay, let's read verse 64.
May I, Mataji?
Yes, Sunita Mataji.
Sarva guhyatamam bhuya shinu me paramam vacha ishtosi me dradham iti tato vaksyami te hitam. Because you are my very dear friend, I am speaking to you my supreme instruction, the most confidential knowledge of all. Hear this from me, for it is for your benefit. Hare
Okay.
Krishna Mataji.
So after telling Arjuna, do as you please, Krishna is further giving him some more instructions, because after listening to Krishna saying, do as you please, Arjuna has heard all that information about, he's heard about surrender to Brahman, then Krishna spoke about directly surrendering to the super soul, and he's silently reviewing his options now. So he's thinking of everything Krishna has told so far, and looking at his friend Arjuna, in such a state, Krishna's heart is melting, and he's saying, okay, I'll further give you some summary, right? So far, chapter 18 has been summary of all that he's spoken, but here he's further giving a summary of the summary, in other words. So Krishna has already given this information before. He's explaining the same again. Krishna wants to repeat it to stress the essence of teaching of Bhagavad Gita. So there is no secret greater than this. So Krishna is revealing the most confidential secret now. Can someone please read these verses?
May I, Mataji?
Jayalakshmi Mataji, go ahead.
Manmana bhava madbhakto madhyaji man namaskuru mame vaishyasi satyante pratijane priyosi me sarvadharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja aham tva sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami ma suchaha. Translation: always think of me, become my devotee, worship me, and offer your homage unto me. Thus you will come to me without fail. I promise you this because you are my very dear friend. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. This is the most confidential information. Now, in chapter 9, verse 34, Krishna is Krishna is pretty much repeating the same information, right? He's saying Krishna is repeating devotion to Krishna is the most confidential knowledge. Always think about me, man mana, become a devotee, bhava mad bhakto, worship me, madhyaji, and offer respect to me, mama namaskuru. So this is the most confidential knowledge. How simple this is. If you look at it, it's pretty simple. This is the most confidential knowledge that Krishna has been telling through the whole chapter. By doing this, you will come to me, I promise, Krishna says, right? But how is it possible for a person whose heart is contaminated with unlimited desires, unlimited sins? How do they perform such pure bhakti? Can sins be destroyed by following all these prescribed duties? This is something we need to think about, because prescribed duties is again coming from Vedas, and Vedas is, taking us from all kind of demigods. Do this worship, do that worship, this is the right thing to do. So even scriptures can be misleading at times, because people can select what they like to do and reject what they don't want to do. So how does a person with so much desires in their heart, how does such a person still surrender to Krishna? So this is what the conclusion is. Here Krishna is saying, just worship me. Worship. So he's giving you the ultimate truth. But how to execute this ultimate truth? What is the mood? So this is what conclusion of Bhagavad Gita is. When he says surrender to Krishna, he's saying giving up all varieties of religion. Give up worship to demigod worship, spirits, ghosts, your nation, caste, all form of religion. You should give up all of that and just pray to Krishna alone. Okay, only Krishna can deliver you from all fearful reactions, sinful reactions. Do not fear. So Krishna is saying, even if one is not free from all sins, you can still surrender to him. He will deliver them from those sins. Okay, but when you surrender to him, he'll deliver you from those sins. So Krishna has given us various options so far in Bhagavad Gita. He has told us about Brahman, surrendering to Brahman. He's told us about surrendering to Paramatma. He's told us about Varnashrama Dharma, where you can do your karmic duties and then surrender to Krishna. Then he spoke about Sannyasa, Tyaga, and controlling your mind and senses. He's spoken about dhyana yoga. So he has prescribed so many different kind of options. There so many kind of way to achieve him. Now he's concluding Gita. He says, give up all such processes and simply surrender to me. Right? He's saying there are many options, and each option will get you to me eventually, but these are not the direct paths to come to Krishna. The only direct path to come to Krishna is to surrender to him directly. So Krishna is giving this message to all of us through Arjuna. So one should give up all anxieties and confidently accept Krishna as the only savior of all the living beings with faith. Arjuna in this verse is accepting the burden of, Krishna in this verse is accepting the burden of protecting such surrendered souls and freeing them from all sins. Okay, let's read further verses. Can someone read the translation for these verses?
May I, Mataji?
Yes, Praveen Prabhu.
Yeah, Bhagavad Gita 18.68 to 71. For one who explains this supreme secret to the devotees, your devotional service is guaranteed, and at the end he will come back to me. There is no servant in this world more dear to me than he, nor will there ever be one more dear. And I declare that he who studies this sacred conversation of our worship me by his intelligence, and one who listens with faith and without envy becomes free from sinful reactions and attains to the auspicious planets where the pious dwell. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna. So Krishna has now completed his teaching, right? He's finished delivering Bhagavad Gita. And Krishna is now glorifying Bhagavad Gita in these verses. Okay, he's glorifying the knowledge he's given to Arjuna. And he's also telling what is the result of hearing this knowledge. And having given all these instructions of Gita, the Lord is now indicating the process of passing on this knowledge also. So in these verses, especially from verse 67 to 78, Krishna is glorifying, studying the Bhagavad Gita and teaching the Bhagavad Gita. So here in these verses is saying these teachings of Gita is not to be given to those who are not austere and have no sense control, to those who have no true devotion, and to those who are unwilling to hear and are not engaged as an obedient servant of the Lord. And finally, with those who are envious to me. So he's telling that people who are not his devotees should not hear about this knowledge. This knowledge should not be given to such people. Okay. But in verse 68 and 69, he's further saying, whatever benefits of teaching Bhagavad Gita, what the benefits of teaching Bhagavad Gita are. So one who teaches Bhagavad Gita, right? Each of you have been listening to Bhagavad Gita, and now in turn you can be teacher of Bhagavad Gita at your own level. So he's saying, what are the benefits of teaching Bhagavad Gita? So one who explains the supreme secret of Bhagavad Gita to my devotees will attain pure devotional service unto me. Okay, that's the first benefit. Then he says, comes back to me without doubt. Third, he says, becomes most dear to me. How dear? There is no servant in the world more dear to me than the teacher of Bhagavad Gita. And there'll be nobody dear to me that in the past or in the future. So that's how dear a teacher of Bhagavad Gita is to Krishna. So all of us should attempt in our own capacity to teach Bhagavad Gita to whoever you can. Okay, so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also says that it's our responsibility being born in this Bharata Varsha to preach, because in India, naturally, we have a tendency to learn the scriptures, to understand. We naturally understand the mood of Krishna. If you go to Vrindavan and places like that, very naturally people say Radhe, Radhe, Krishna, Krishna, words very nicely roll from their mouth. And they might be materially inclined, but they are still very devotional, because names of the Lord very nicely roll from their mouth, and there's no pretension in their nature. So this is how people of India are. We are by default at some level devotee of the Lord, right? And we are the most capable people who can preach the message of the Lord further on. So it's our duty as well. Okay, so if you explain the secret of Gita to other devotees who are like-minded and positive, we will get pure devotional service in return. Okay, so if you want to become a dear devotee of Krishna or become dear to Krishna, we have to share this knowledge of Gita as it is heard from Bhagavad Gita as it is. Okay, now further in verse 70, Krishna is saying benefits of studying the Bhagavad Gita. What are the benefits? One who studies this sacred conversation of ours worships me by his intelligence. This yagna or sacrifice that we are doing in the way, even reading Bhagavad Gita is a sacrifice done to the Lord. This is also a yagna, right? So whoever is who studies this sacred conversation of us is worshipping me by his using his intelligence. So we are offering our intelligence to Krishna, and this way we are still meditating on the Lord. So this we are thinking of the Lord constantly. So this sacrifice or yagna that we are doing of studying Vedas, of studying the Bhagavad Gita, is even superior to sacrifices of any kind of material sacrifices that we might do. So even the most poorest kind of person can do this kind of yagna, right? Finally, he's talking in verse 71, what is the benefit of hearing Bhagavad Gita? The benefit is that one who listens with faith without envy becomes free from sinful reactions and attains to the auspicious planet where the pious dwell. So one of the 10 offenses of committed towards the holy name is to instruct a faithless person. And Krishna is telling in verse 67 that we should not instruct this Bhagavad Gita, his knowledge, to a faithless person. Here Krishna says Gita cannot be taught to a non-devotee, right? Although there are many people who are non-devotees, still not all of them may be envious to Krishna. And if they are preached with the right, given some knowledge, they will very nicely come to Krishna consciousness, right? So there's a lot of crowd. Some people are obviously envious. So for them, we don't want to preach at all. But people who are innocent, who do not have this knowledge or no exposure, to them, we should definitely preach, right? And very nicely, if they have the karma to surrender to Krishna, or, even if they don't have the karma because they have heard about Krishna in this life, naturally they'll evolve to better life or more knowledge of Krishna in their coming births. So this way, devotees of the Lord, though Krishna said don't preach to the non-devotees, we still go ahead and preach. We have classes, we have Srimad Bhagavatam discourses every Sunday. There are large crowds that come up together. They may be devotees, may not be devotees, but the fact that they've come to the temple to listen, they are still not envious of Krishna. They may be ill-informed, misinformed, all that could be happening, but they are not envious of Krishna, and it's good forum to preach to, right? And get them to Krishna consciousness. This way, by teaching the Gita or by studying the Gita or hearing the Gita, one can attain great transcendental results. So this is very nicely, Krishna is glorifying reading, preaching, and studying or talking about Krishna. Can someone read this verse?
May I, Mataji?
Sunita Mataji.
Kachit etachrutam partha taiva kagrena chetasa kachit ajnana sammoha pranashtaste Dhananjaya. O son of Pratha, O conqueror of wealth, have you heard this with an attentive mind? And are your ignorance and illusions now dispelled? Hare
So,
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So far, Arjuna has been asking questions to Krishna, and Krishna now is asking a question to Arjuna. Have you listened and with attentive mind, and have all your ignorance been removed? Has it been dispelled? And on request of Arjuna, Krishna had revealed the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. Now, as a teacher, Krishna is checking, have you understood everything? If Arjuna had said, no, I have not clear about this point yet, maybe Krishna would have continued explaining Bhagavad Gita, re-explained everything all over again. But let's see what Arjuna is saying to this question. What does Arjuna respond? Verse 73. Yes, Sumit Prabhu.
Arjuna uvacha nashto moha smritirlabha tvat prasadan maya chuta stitosmi gata sandeha karishe vachanam tava. Arjuna said, My dear Krishna, O infallible one, my illusion is now gone. I have regained my memory by your mercy. I am now firm and free from doubt, and I am prepared to act according to your instructions. Hare Krishna.
So Arjuna is telling Krishna that all my illusions have been dispelled. I have regained my memory. I am now firm, free from all doubts, and I'm ready to follow your instructions. So Krishna consciousness is, what does it mean? It means acting according to Krishna's order. Right? Arjuna is representing all of us. Any jiva who surrendered to Krishna and they have heard the Bhagavad Gita, when you're ready for that level of surrender, just reading Bhagavad Gita once, you can surrender like Arjuna is. But for many of us, reading once is just the beginning of our spiritual journey. Right? We'll have to read many, many, many times till we come to this point of surrender, like what Arjuna is showing here. He's saying, I'm ready to follow your instruction. So Arjuna is representing all of us in this conversation. So as a Jivatma, our constitutional position is to act in such Krishna consciousness. So Arjuna is saying, what else can I ask? Having given up all duties, dharmas, I now surrender to you completely without any worries, in full faith, and I am ready to follow your orders, right? So this will be the last verse. Can someone read?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Komala Mataji.
Bhagavad Gita 18.78. Sanjaya Uvacha Yatra Yogeshwara Krishno Yatra Partho Dhanurdharaha Tatra Shrir Vijayo Bhutir Dhruvani Tirmatir Mama. Translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Wherever there is Krishna, the master of all mystics, and wherever there is Arjuna, the supreme archer, there will also certainly be opulence, victory, extraordinary power, and morality. That is my opinion. Thank you, Mataji. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. So this is what Sanjay is saying. So remember at the beginning, there was a conversation started between Dhritarashtra and Sanjaya, where Sanjay is now relating what's going on in the Kurukshetra battlefield. So in conclusion, after explaining everything so far, Sanjay is now telling his realizations to Dhritarashtra. So this conversation between Krishna and Arjuna, he explains that this conversation is so wonderful that his hair is standing on its end. And by the grace of Veda Vyasa, who had given him this vision, he's now able to see Krishna, all his magnificent forms, and he's hear about the most confidential information that Krishna gave Arjuna. So because of all that, he's saying, when he's talking to Arjuna, I repeatedly recall this wonderful conversation, the sacred conversation between Krishna and Arjuna, and I take pleasure being thrilled at every movement. So Sanjay is very thrilled, recalling all the whole conversation, the different rupa that Krishna has shown Arjuna. Thinking of all that, he's feeling very thrilled. And as he says further, as I remember Krishna's wonderful form, I'm struck with wonder more and more, and I rejoice repeatedly, and my hair stands on its end again and again. So he's again and again savoring this very pleasurable memories, thoughts of Krishna, everything that Krishna has told so far. Now in verse 78, he's saying, wherever there is Krishna, the master of all mystics, and wherever there is Arjuna, the supreme archer, Dhananjaya, right? There will certainly be opulence, prosperity, victory, extraordinary power, and morality. This is my opinion. So Dhritarashtra was somehow hopeful till the very end that somehow his sons will win this war. And with the support of all the other warriors like Bhishma, Drona, Karna, he was still hopeful. But having described the whole conversation between Arjuna and Krishna, Sanjay is squashing all that hopes for Dhritarashtra. And so after describing the scene in the battlefield, Sanjay is directly confirming to Dhritarashtra that victory will be on the side of Pandavas due to the presence of Krishna and Arjuna. Okay, so that's how the last verse of Bhagavad Gita ends. Can someone please read the screen for me?
May I, Mataji?
Go ahead, Mataji.
The importance of chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare is very strongly stressed in the second canto, first chapter, verse 11 of Srimad Bhagavatam in the following way. Sukadeva Goswami tells Maharaja Parikshit, my dear king, if one is spontaneously attached to the chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, it is to be understood that he has attained the highest perfectional stage. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. My dear king, if one spontaneously attached to the chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, it is to be understood that he has attained the highest perfectional stage. What is the spontaneous attachment to chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra? What does that mean? What is your understanding of that? What do you understand by spontaneously attached to the chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra? Is any one of you attached to the chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra very spontaneously?
At the tip of the tongue, we should be having the name. 24 hours, you are into it while working, while sleeping, by eating, doing any work of your daily job. You are always into Krishna, and Krishna is in your mind, and you're chanting the holy name all the time.
All the time.
Hours, 24
it's not that, after 2 hours of chanting, you're thinking, finally, I'm done. No more thinking of Krishna. That's not the mood. They want to continuously chant the holy name, right? It's spontaneously always on their tongue. Even when it's done, they're still chanting, right? 16 rounds are done, 32 rounds are done. It's not that, I promise 1 round and I've done that for today. Don't ask anything further. I'm not going to remember Krishna anymore. That's not the mood. Even after they're done their prescribed rounds, they still want to continue remembering Krishna, thinking of Krishna, doing different activities for Krishna. So Krishna, remember, the name of Krishna is not different from Krishna in his personal form. Right? When you're chanting that with full mood of surrender, when you're chanting with full concentration. Krishna is dancing on your tongue in the form of his name, right? You should remember that. So if you're taking this chanting lightly, then it's like you're calling out to Krishna. You're calling out, Krishna, listen, listen. Like you're making a call to Krishna and saying, Krishna, can you? I want to talk to you. That's our mood when you're chanting. We're chanting. Krishna is listening to us. Yes, you want to tell me something. We have to tell him about our surrender, our mood to not want anything else other than Krishna. But even when we are calling him and saying, Krishna, I want to talk to you, but we are constantly looking at our phone. Our left hand is moving things around, you're doing something with your laptop with your left hand, or you're looking for distractions, your eyes is constantly looking for distraction. If all that happens, then we are not in spontaneously mood of chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So we'll have to be very mindful while chanting. If you are not used to this process of chanting yet, I suggest that I put up a group for you in our WhatsApp group. This group meets every day between 9 to 10 in the morning. They meet, come together, chant about 8 to 10 rounds in that 1 hour, and then they separate. You can join anytime, be part of the chanting process, at least till the point where you get used to chanting. I've got very nice positive feedback from people in this group as well, that they, for the first time, they could do 16 rounds. They were struggling to do 3 or 4 rounds, but for the first time after joining that group, they could very easily do 16 rounds. So try that. I request you that I know many of you have started chanting. On the chat now, I know we did this activity before. Each of you tell me how many rounds on chat were you chanting before this 18 days, and how many rounds are you currently chanting? So put your before number and then put your after number. So 2 numbers together. Can you put that on your chat, please? Pavan Prabhu is saying 0 before and 1 now. Kalyani Mataji 4 and 4. Good. Okay. Be consistent. Yes, 4 and 8. Sumet Prabhu. Constantly 8 rounds. Lata Mataji. Grishma 16 and 16. Good. Jagdish Prabhu 8 to 12. Nice, Prabhuji. Very nice. Gita Krishna Mataji 2 before and 2 continue. Okay. Avaduta Prabhuji 16 16. Neerajakshi Mataji 4 and 4. Shanmukha Prabhuji 1 before and 2 now. Nice. Anasuya. Okay. 16 10. Sri Devi Mataji 6 before, 8 now. Okay. 6 plus. Sita Mataji 1 now. Nice, nice. Okay. One mala every day. Okay, that's good. So I request all of you, whatever rounds that you're doing now, it could be 1 round, 2 rounds, 8 rounds, whatever that round is, stick to that number. Right? Don't go lesser than that. Even if it's 1 round right now, stick to that number every day without fail. Okay. Eventually, when you feel your dedication has improved and you want to chant more rounds, and that the nectar of chanting Krishna's name will come to you very naturally. That intention that I want to please Krishna, spend more time chanting the names of Krishna, that mood will come to you very naturally. So it's all depends on your level of surrender at this point. Okay. So as you feel more surrendered, more completely in that you want nothing more but Krishna chanting, then 16 rounds will come very easily. But don't drop whatever you're doing now. Don't drop that number. Don't just say that, one day I've chanted, next day I've lost interest. Don't do that. It's very good thing that Krishna has blessed you with this opportunity to chant his name. Many people don't even get to this stage. Right? Many people live this whole life just enjoying things around them, and they never think of chanting the name of the Lord. But somehow Krishna has given this opportunity to you, that you are now started chanting his name. And remember, this 18 days that you've gone through, don't think of this as end of your learning. It's not end of studying Bhagavad Gita. Like I keep saying, this is just the beginning, right? take it as the first step towards learning Bhagavad Gita. You have to study a lot more. You have to go into much more depth into understanding Bhagavad Gita. We have to spend that much time, dedicate that much time to understand Krishna, to understand what he's saying, right? So make sure, two things I'm requesting: don't drop the number of rounds that you're doing today, maintain that rounds and go higher from there in the future, and continue studying Bhagavad Gita. Later, as you finish reading Bhagavad Gita, understand Bhagavad Gita, you can read other books like Srimad Bhagavatam. That's the next level. And then there's Chaitanya Charitamrita. There are a lot of literatures to learn. You're just being given the very basic information right now. Okay, so don't just be happy in this kind of uh, this level of understanding. You should make more attempts to understand. Okay, so there are a couple of announcements before I ask for questions. Just give me a second. Okay, so like I told yesterday, don't quit the group. So whoever wants to continue the Gita Gyan level 2 study, stay on this group and we'll pass on all the subsequent messages accordingly. I know that we discussed there'll be a Sammelan. Sammelan is a graduation program. So whoever has attended 12 classes of this program at least is eligible to get a certificate. Okay, so that being said, I'm not available this week, this whole week. So I don't know. I need to check with Sri Hari Prabhu what his plans are. If he can do it without me, I'll request him to host the event for me and take it up. But if he insists that I be there, if not this Saturday, then it will happen the next Saturday, the following Saturday, which is 22nd. Okay, either on the 15th or on the 22nd. The admins in the group will confirm that date to you. Okay. So Gita Gyan level 2 classes will start right after the Sammelan, most likely in the first week of March. And I already explained the difference of what we are doing now in level 1 versus level 2. In level 2, we'll go every verse by verse, and it will be a program that will continue for at least 7 to 8 months. Okay, so just Bhagavad Gita, verse by verse study, and we'll do it for about 8 months. And there are many programs running simultaneously. I already mentioned about chanting program that happens from 9 to 10. There is also every day at 6:45 in the morning, one verse of Bhagavad Gita. Some devotee will give a class on one verse of Bhagavad Gita. It's like a Srimad Bhagavatam class, but on Bhagavad Gita. So it's a half-an-hour class. So whoever has the time in the morning, make sure you join that class as well. We'll share the details with you on the group as well. And finally, the last announcement is in the month of May, we are arranging a yatra to Mayapur, ISKCON Mayapur and Kolkata. So those who like to be part of that yatra can let us know, and we'll share the details with you. So this invite is especially for all the Gita Gyan students to be part of the yatra, so we get to know each other, and we also increase our bond as devotees, and improve the Vaishnava cultures between each other. And one of the important culture that we have is not just spending time talking, giving Gita Gyan, but also knowing each other, spending time counseling each other, hearing about each other's problems, all these things, right? So this is a culture of a devotee. So to get into that culture, we need to know each other, get to a level of personal understanding of each other, and this yatra will be a good place to start that relation from. We already have started that relation, but to get stronger with the relation, and whoever is in Gita Gyan programs, you're welcome to be part of that yatra as well. Okay, so are there any questions on anything that we discussed today?
Hare Krishna Mataji, I have one question.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes. Jayalakshmi Mataji.
That 45 minutes that you said, it is 45 minutes of our human thing. Yeah?
Yes.
Because I'm not able to digest that the entire thing was spoken within 45 minutes.
Yes, Sanskrit versus just Sanskrit, no translation purpose, nothing, just just
Okay.
conversation. Yes, I know it's difficult because when in Gita Jayanthi, when we read the verses alone, we take about 3 hours, and Krishna
Yes.
has spoken all of that in 45 minutes. So that's their level of expertise with the language.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Jagdish Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
My special gratitude to you for taking all the 18 days, the crisp and clear explanation of all the 18 chapters. I must really appreciate. I have to give you gratitude for that.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you for expressing the gratitude. But like I mentioned before, any knowledge that I've shared with you is coming from my gurus, my Shiksha teachers within ISKCON, my seniors within ISKCON. So I'll pass on all your gratitude and praises to them in return. So, but thank you for being part of this program for the last 18 days. It feels like years, is it? No, it's 18 days.
And in the same line, how do you find your spiritual group? Because without today, I was reading a post from ISKCON saying that Krishna and your spiritual guru are like a railway track. You cannot do one without one another.
Yes.
So how do you make a spiritual guru? That's
Yes.
my question.
So we'll take you through that path, Prabhuji. To know first you'll need to understand who are the different gurus within ISKCON, because each guru within ISKCON has a different mood, right? Some teachers, spiritual teachers within ISKCON, they are very active in city preaching. Some are very active in schools, running educational institutes. Some are very active having, building society of ISKCONs, like-minded devotees staying together, having a community of sort. So there are different gurus. Some gurus, they go into such remote places and they preach Krishna consciousness, because they say it's not just for cities or people of working class. It is, this knowledge should go everywhere. So there are a lot of teachers like that. But before you select a guru, you should understand what your guru wants. Does your mood of surrender and the kind of duties you want to execute in Krishna consciousness, do they match? Do they tally? There should be some frequency match, right? Many a times within ISKCON, it's become a very methodical process of, someone suggests a guru, you may not have listened to the classes, but because it's a famous guru, people take initiation. But the actual relation between a guru and a teacher, spiritual teacher and a disciple, should be like a marriage. You should know the person before you get married, right? Similarly, when you're taking diksha from a person, guru can be two types. You can have diksha guru, or you can have shiksha gurus. I need to mute someone. So you can have diksha guru or your shiksha guru. Shiksha guru can be anyone, right? Whoever you're learning from, whoever classes you're listening, whoever you follow religiously, right? Whoever you're taking knowledge from, that is your shiksha guru. There's no ceremonial process in that, in that relation. There's no fire sacrifice, nothing. You learn because this is coming from an authorized person. You can listen to their classes online, attend their classes, or read their books that they've written, and you learn from them. That is shiksha guru. That kind of relation, though it is it's not a personal relation, it's still personal, because you're learning the personal ideas of that person. You're learning from that person. So that is shiksha guru. Now the second kind of guru is the diksha guru. Now a diksha guru is someone who gives you the chanting beads and says, from this time onwards, you have to you take an oath in front of them that you'll follow the 4 regulative principles and do your 16 rounds of minimum chanting henceforth, right? You take an oath. So they bring you into Krishna consciousness by initiating you into the parampara. So that is your diksha guru. Now there is no limitations on how many shiksha gurus you can have. You can have any number of shiksha gurus. You can learn from anyone. But Diksha Guru, especially because whoever you choose as your guru, Diksha or Shiksha, your frequency should match, your ideology should match at some level, right? It's better that you have a relation with such a guru after having some kind of personal relation. You talk to them, you make sure that you'll be able to serve them in their mission going forward. You are able to serve them in some way, right? So if that kind of frequency match happens, then that is the person you want to take initiation from. But that attempt, that endeavor at many level has to be your personal endeavor as well. Otherwise, you can be on a group that says, okay, this is my favorite guru. We can all take initiation from this guru. So that can also happen. So it depends on your endeavor, how much endeavor you want to put in the process of finding a guru versus selecting a guru that someone might tell is good for you. Did that answer your question, Jagdish Prabhuji?
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you so much for the answer. Thank
Yes.
you.
Yeah. And like I said, stay connected in the group. We are going to take you through higher levels of achieving spiritual knowledge, right? And as you go through different levels, we are going to take you through different levels of surrender as well, like how to go from your current level of chanting to higher levels, or how to read more books. So you'll go from Krishna Sadhakas, Krishna Seva, Prabhupada Ashraya. We can take you through all that levels. And finally, we can take you to the level of Guru Ashraya as well. So it depends on how long you want to be attached to this group. We'll take you through. It might take you, roughly about 2 years, 3 years, depends on your level of interest, how much participation you're taking. And going forward, as you go into Gita Gyan level 2, we will build a more personal relation. So I will be able to counsel each of you personally as well on how to improve in your Krishna consciousness going forward. What are the few things you can start doing, stop doing, such kind of things. So if you are keen on having that kind of personal relation and going to the level of Guru Ashraya and Guru Diksha acceptance, we can take you to that path as well.
Mataji, I have a question.
Hare Krishna, go ahead.
Hare Krishna. So I'm having arthritis, okay, and there's a lot of swelling in my hand joints, due to which I'm not able to use the mala or japa, okay.
Okay.
And I'm not able to sit and do the japa because of my autoimmune diseases. So
okay.
in that case, is it okay to lie down and do the japa?
Yes. In extreme conditions, you can. Okay, when your situation you're unable to sit and chant, you can extremely unwell situation, let Krishna know that you want to chant, and because of your physical limitations, you're requesting him to sleep and chant. Exceptions like that are there, Mataji, but it shouldn't become a norm, right? A able person should not be doing it, but a sick person is allowed to do that.
Thank you, Mataji, because I thought I was not doing the right thing, because sometimes I'm able to do with the japa mala.
Yes.
But sometimes I'm having to force to count with my fingertips to, get it, because the mala is becoming too difficult to hold on to. So that is why I wanted to check. That is one thing. Second thing is, so yesterday I had spoken to you about a question about Kul Devata.
Yes.
The different gods that we worship. But when everything leads to Krishna, why do we need to worship anybody else in that matter?
You don't need
That's
to.
the next question that arose.
Krishna has already answered that question in chapter 18. He said, give up all forms of dharma and just surrender to me. If we are still surrendering to anybody else, that is because of our shortcomings in our faith.
Okay.
Right. So, but ultimately, Krishna is saying you can give up all kind of dharma. Some people pray to trees, some people pray to animals, some to some jivas, ghosts, lower forms of living. chandis and whatnot and whatnot. All that prayers are there, but Krishna is saying, just give it all up and just surrender to me. So what is the need for all of these other practices? Just surrender to me.
Very true, Mataji. Thank you so much for answering. And thank you for patiently letting me wait till the 18th chapter to answer the first question that I asked you in the first chapter.
Which is what? Did I answer it already, or
You asked me to wait till the 18th chapter to
what
ask
was
you
the
that.
question?
I said, if we have everything is Krishna, then why do we have to go through this life waiting for Krishna to deliver us at the end? So that is what finally I got the answer. So
Good. Good. If you had told me that you still don't have your answer, I would have to tell you to join the next batch of Gita Gyan again.
no.
No, you should join. You should join. Even if you have understood everything so far, you should join the next batch.
No, Mataji,
yeah.
because every session of Bhagavad Gita is a new
Yes.
revelation altogether. It's a mystery unraveled every time that you read. So
yes,
it's perfectly amazing.
yes, absolutely.
Thank you so much, Mataji, for
Hare
everything.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Now, I have a small request from all of you that have joined this session from the beginning to end. I know you have, I see your comments, appreciation. I'm deeply thankful, but I have a request. If you have appreciated this program this last 18 days, we want to use you as our advertisement person, right, to promote this program, not the teachers, not the personal aspects of the teaching. How has this program helped you? If you could do a video recording of yourself to tell us how this program has made a difference in your life so far, 18 days. So we can use this program to motivate others to be part of this progress. Many people have a lot of misconceptions on what this Bhagavad Gita is. How people have misconceptions of even keeping Bhagavad Gita at home. They think that if you have Bhagavad Gita at home, then it leads to wars. There are many missionaries and such from different who have spread this kind of misconception, right? And we want to eliminate all this kind of misconception by spreading this knowledge of Gita everywhere. So I request you, whoever is willing to, if you could make a video recording of yourself and explain how this program has made an impact. Now, remember, it's not an appreciation of the teacher. Don't talk about how good or bad the teacher was. Though if I was bad, I'm sorry. I'll try to be better next time. But about the program, how has it made a difference in your life? If you could make a short video recording, not more than 2 minutes. If you have lots to say, then we'll make a concession, but even 2 minutes video would be fine. Okay.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Praveen Prabhu, you
Mataji.
had a Prabhu? Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, Mataji. So a small query I have, Mataji. So I basically read this somewhere, or maybe I heard from in some of the program, that whatever we cook at home, we are supposed to offer to God first, and then we should eat the same prasada.
Yes.
Sometimes what happens, Mataji, let's say you have kids going to school early in the morning, and if let's say Mataji is making the prasad, the food basically, so that time we are not prepared to offer it to Lord because it's early in the morning. Nobody take the bath at that time, and it's like we are in rush to basically cook the food. So is it okay to eat that food? Because what I heard, whatever food we eat without offering, we are eating sins.
Yes.
So
you already answered your question, but when you're in shortage of time, what do you do? Maybe you can do some workaround to manage your time better than Prabhu. But it's important to offer. Even if you can't do a plate offering in the altar, you can have a small picture of the Lord in your kitchen, right? And just keep the plate, a thali, in front of him, and do some basic prayers, light a small lamp if you could. You don't have to do the whole process, right?
Yeah.
So if you can do that quickly, Manasik offering is also fine. The days when you cannot cook, you can think of, all the different things that the Lord we can possibly offer, all the relishable chapan bhog, all the sweets. You can make a manasik offering like that also. That's for the days when you absolutely cannot cook at all. But for the days when you cook, at least keep a small picture of Srila Prabhupada or your guru in the kitchen, a small picture. And make sure when you have pictures of the deities, you don't cook onion, garlic, or non-veg in the kitchen.
No, Mataji, we do not use onion garlic
Yes.
at home at all.
Okay.
Yeah. And sometimes let's say if we are going out with some friends or something like that, and that time it's very difficult, basically.
Yes.
So we can simply, just fold our hands and
say
just talk.
Krishna Arpanamastu.
Okay.
Yes. It's not the best way, but at least you're making an attempt to offer it to the Lord.
Sure, Mataji. Thank you so
Say
much,
Shri
Mataji.
Vishnu, yeah, Shri Vishnu, Shri Vishnu, Shri Vishnu. Just chant 3 times Shri Vishnu,
Three
Shri
times
Vishnu
Shri Vishnu.
before. Yeah. And that should be okay for such extreme situations. But anything that you eat has to be offered.
Sure, Mataji. Thank you so much. Mataji, with your permission, may I chant one Mahamantra for you, if you don't mind?
No. I'm not in that position yet, so not
All
yet.
right. Thank you so much,
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
But
Hare
you can
Krishna,
chant for Srila Prabhupada if you like, okay? That because all that knowledge is coming from Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna Mataji, very well said for 18 days. Very good time we had, Mataji.
Jai.
Thank
I
you
hope
so
you join
much,
us for
Mataji.
Gita Gyan level 2 as well.
Yes, Mataji.
Jai. Thank you. Hare Krishna. If there's no other questions, we can end our call for today, and you can look for further instructions on the WhatsApp group.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna
Hare Krishna,
Mataji.
Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna.
Mataji.
Hare Krishna,
Dandavat
Mataji.
pranam.
Hare Krishna. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyo eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.
Dandavat pranam Mataji.
Dandavat pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. I'm closing the call for everyone. Dandavat pranam.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.